Hey, it's Your Financial Maven, Samantha Besnoff, CPA, and after almost 25 years in the accounting world, I've decided to share my insights and passion about money. Knowing your money and hopefully feeling less stress about your money is what I call being financially empowered. Welcome to the Your Financial Maven podcast. Hey, it's Your Financial Maven, and today with me, I have this really amazing guest who takes an approach when it comes to understanding your money and really getting to know where you are financially. A little different of an approach than you normally would think. And I have to say that I think it is very intriguing and it actually kind of makes sense. I will say that my guest that I have today is full of energy and full of light. Her message about money really takes a little twist in talking about loving your money and really embracing your money. I don't want to go too much into it, but I will say that when I was having the interview, I thought, okay, it's an interesting concept. You know, I'm not sure how many people will really take to it or understand the ideas behind it. But interestingly enough, I've been listening to The Financial Feminist by Tori Dunlap, part of her first 100K. And I happened to be towards the end of her book. And in the chapter, she's kind of wrapping things up and she starts talking about dating your money and loving your money and really embracing that. So it really came full circle for me with regards to my following guest. So here is my podcast interview with Morgana Rae. All right. Welcome to the latest episode of Your Financial Maven. I am so excited today. I have a guest with me that takes what I consider more of a holistic approach when it comes to money. I actually do that with my clients, which I love. I love being able to engage and empower my clients. And so with me today is Morgana Rae, who is a 20-time #1 international best-selling author. And you have your book, Financial Alchemy, that is out. And I'll make sure there's any kind of links to you, your book in the podcast bio. So we'll have that. And you are not only a best-selling author, but you are a mentor, a coach, and you're regarded as the world's #1 authority in love-centered wealth building, which is your groundbreaking approach and your authority to the relationship of money. I know you've been in the Wall Street Journal, Yahoo Finance, on all the major television networks, coast-to-coast radio, to get your message out, which I absolutely love. And I know, Morgana, that your clients and fans call you the money goddess, which I think is great. And I know that you've talked to so many clients about manifesting their money and hoping that they can grow their money and their relationship with it, which is very important. You have been around doing this for over 30 years. You're a writer, you speak, you coach, and you try to have that desire to empower idealistic entrepreneurs, artists, healers, humanitarians, to have a big impact on the world and to heal the rift between the heart, spirit, and money. So Morgana, welcome to Your Financial Maven.
Thank you so much for having me. And it's funny because on Fox TV, I've been a recurring money maven. So, Maven Sisters Unite.
Nice. I love it. I know. It's a great word. I get a lot of good compliments on that. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to first ask you, what is money?
Money is a measure of value. And it's completely invented by human beings, does not exist autonomously in nature. And the reason human beings get so hung up on money, in fact, you mentioned I've been coaching 30 years, and money is the #1 excuse human beings give for what we can't have, do, or be. So we get really worked up about money more than I think any other topic in the world. People will talk about sex in a loud voice in a supermarket now. But money, people get weird, and it's because money is symbolic. And when we dig a little, it represents our lovability. Are we loved?
Oh.
It represents our worth and value. Are we wanted? And it represents safety. So ultimately, it's like, do we belong here? Does the universe even want us here? And when you don't have it, you get dehumanized, and the world becomes a very dangerous place. So I like to talk to people who are fundamentally do-gooders, world changers. I was coaching a client yesterday in Germany who is a consultant in sustainable building, who now is being courted by the federal government in Germany to bring sustainability nationwide to get them into compliance with the UN and all sorts of, just big stuff like that. What I talk about is not how to invest. There are professionals who specialize in that. That's not my thing. I have my own financial planner. But what I like to look at is when you have a person who is playing by the rules, doing all the right stuff, and has all this money drama. Either they aren't making what they should be making. They're doing everything they're told, and they're just not making it, or they're making it and losing it, or they have it, and it's causing conflict in relationships and all that kind of stuff. I like to get to the root of the problem that is behind the money. Again, it's in love and worth and safety, because I find that when we get to the root and we take the conflict out of money flows. And I'm talking,
I agree with you on that.
My client Perry, who went from 0 to over 12 million in 3 years.
Wow.
But first we had to get rid of her money monster.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people do have that like monster or devil on their shoulder or something that like holds them back when it comes to talking about their money, understanding their money, and kind of, living with what they have and how can they make it grow thing.
And it's weird because we all want to have money to buy things and live well. So why would we think of money as a monster? It's a conflict, because how can you bring in and keep something that you regard as a monster? So this whole monster dynamic is way below the surface. It's not conscious. It's not your fault. But when we become aware of it and we know what to do with it, then you have the ability to respond.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, I think, as you will know too, when we were growing up, pre-internet and social media and all that, we observed or we watched, but nobody ever really talked to us about money. It was always, like you said, shush, that you don't talk about those things. You don't talk about it with people outside of your little circle, or even within your own little circle. You shouldn't talk about it. And I mean, that's part of the reason why I do the podcast. We have to talk about our money and not be afraid to share that and have more empowerment to say, yeah, I make this and this is how I do it, or whatever the techniques are.
And even worse, like in my upbringing, money was the source of conflict and family members not speaking for decades. It was used as a weapon.
And control. It can be used for control. So yeah, absolutely. So I came across your quote and I love this. And I'm going to read the quote and then I want to know how'd you get started with all this and kind of where your money story led you. So this is from you. It's a quote. You say, when you imagine your money as a real flesh and blood person worthy of your deepest admiration, you embark on an amazing love at first sight affair of the heart. Pennies on the ground are like chocolates on your pillow. I absolutely love that. I mean, I love chocolate too, but like that, I absolutely love. So how did you kind of get into all this and get to this quote to help your clients?
Failure. That's how I started. Fancy East Coast education. So what? Half a dozen coaching certifications, mountains of testimonials, celebrity client. So what? I was living in Los Angeles at my lowest point, already a coach, already a really great reputation and people wanting to hire me. And I was struggling to make $100 a month in Los Angeles in March of 2003. And that did not come out of a vacuum. There's a lot of context there. So I kept going out and getting more certifications, more trainings, taking more classes and sales and marketing, and seeing them doing a really great job. I took a class in overcoming sales objections where somebody said, oh, I'd love to, but I can't afford it, or I don't.
Right.
And there are all these script magic words that you say, and I said them, and 7 people in a row, I overcame their objections. And here's the punchline. Right. 7 people in a row did not show up for the first coaching call and did not pay me. And I'd been doing this for years, and I was getting huge results for clients, especially starting out with the entertainment industry, people with nothing going on to major motion pictures, hit TV series, selling films, all that stuff. And I'm struggling to make $100 a month. This does not make sense on a rational level. And I was having one of those ultra dark nights of the soul where I really just didn't see a place for myself on this planet. And you know what that means? Because if you can't make a living and it feels like such a total rejection from life itself. And by the way, At this point, I was taking classes teaching me to do what I was already doing really well. None of it was moving the dial. So I just, after that seventh person blew me off, and I just kind of lost my mind for a little while and got on my bed, wailed my heart out, raged, cried, feeling just terrified and furious and heartbroken. And when I cried myself out completely, I had two thoughts. And the first one for me, because I'm from California, so we think this way, is maybe money needed to be my next area of spiritual growth, because spirituality, runs really easy for us on the West Coast. The other thought that I had, and this one is actually much more useful, is I got curious and asked myself, what the heck is going on inside of me that can't be with money?
Yeah.
Because this
very
does
true.
not make sense. And the next day I had a call with my coach, which, by the way, saying that statement now that you know that I was struggling to make $100 a month living in Los Angeles, saying the next day with my coach is like the craziest thing that I could say. But I'm glad. And honestly, I think it saved my life. And I've been working with this coach for months. By the way, he and I graduated and got certified on the same day, but he owned a house. And I was struggling to make $100. And I kept doing everything he would say because I'm a good student, and nothing was happening. But on this day, I was not a good client. And I just poured out all of my rage and defeat. Now, by the way, every coach listening, if there are any coaches listening, we want our client to come with that kind of rawness. If you've got the problem, bring it, please. It gives us something to work with. So that's how I showed up. And my coach asked me a really weird question. We don't know where it came from, and it changed my life. Yeah. And he said to me, if your money was a person, who would your money be? And I had never thought about that before, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
And in that moment, a person just popped into my mind's eye. Nobody that I knew, nobody real. But the person who showed up was this big, scary, dirty, violent biker dude. Kind of bald, long sideburns, white feeder-shaped tattoos.
That is scary.
Nothing wrong with bikers. It was this guy.
No, not at all.
Right?
Not at all.
To all the bikers listening, we love you. So this guy was just scary and evil, and I could feel it in every cell of my body. He wanted to do me harm. And I had this instant moment of imagining myself at a live event, and I would have my eye on him all the time to create maximum distance between us. And that was my big aha moment. That everything I was doing, all the public speaking, all the sample sessions, all the brochures, all the everything didn't matter, because below the surface, I was doing everything as if to stay alive, to keep money at a distance. And I never knew that about myself until I made money a person. And that was the first time I could recognize how I really felt and what was going on. Didn't matter what I did, I had to protect myself from money. And that was this huge aha. And I realized there was just no way that I could have money in my life if it was that guy. This relationship needed to change. I needed to get rid of the biker. And as soon as I just imagined him gone, by the way, I go way deeper into this. I just lucked out. I was like, we'll break up, fine.
Yeah, it's not that easy usually, yeah.
Yeah, I'll share what I know now that I didn't know at the time. I was just really ready to be done with that relationship. And as soon as it was gone, it was like I felt this void around me where this toxic relationship had been all my life. And by the way, if you've ever had a relationship with a significant other that was sort of like, you're not good enough, I'm the best you'll ever get, while this person is cheating on you and putting you down, and you don't deserve me and all that kind of stuff. If you've ever had that with a human being, you'll understand that was kind of the relationship that I had with money.
Interesting.
Be grateful for any crumb you can get as he, cheats on me and leaves me and makes me feel like I'm not worth anything. That was the old relationship. So I got rid of that, felt this emptiness where it used to be, and then thought, oh, but I don't want him to come back. So I need a new relationship, especially because I live in Los Angeles and I just got rid of the only relationship with money I have. That's not going to work.
Right. You need to be able to make a living still.
Yes. And even think of that, make a living. Like it's so tied in with just our most basic survival.
It is. It truly is. Money does do that, right? It's that survival. I mean, I'll be very honest. We have our youngest who's going into a second year of college, and it's freaking us out financially just because we have some preparation, but we still got to get him through college, and it's not cheap. And so we have some stressors in our life right now trying to figure some of that out and how to manage all that.
Yeah, and it's so easy for money to become the bad guy, right?
It is.
Yeah. So you're going to use that, and I'll walk you through the steps as soon as I finish my very long-winded story.
I love it, though, yes.
I have this, yay, I got rid of the monster, heck. Now I have no relationship with money. Who could I want in my life so much? This is the question I ask, and you're free to steal it. Who could I want in my life so much that I'd be willing to have this person, even if it's money?
Okay.
So the relationship comes first. Who would be so wonderful and so safe and so wantable that I would want a relationship with this person, even if it's money? Because the only relationship I had with money just hurt so bad I didn't want to go near that again. And when I asked myself that question, because I've started in such a place of pain, and because the personification of the monster version of money was so real to me, and because it was so gone, when I asked myself this next question, this new money person showed up. Because when you get rid of the monster, all that remains really is love. And he showed up in this like imaginary form of this, sweet, handsome, clean-cut young man wearing a tuxedo, holding a bouquet of flowers as if he's going to whisk me off to the theater, and he's in love with me and wants to be with me. Totally different experience than the monster. And it wasn't controlled by me consciously. It was just kind of bubbled up like that and felt very real. And he felt very vulnerable. And I became instantly aware of how I'd been breaking his heart for years by pushing him away. And I could feel how he wanted to be with me. And I became also aware of I had no freaking clue how to allow money to be with me. Lots and lots of money to be with me. I had superhero skills of propulsion, big R on my chest. And so when I could feel how much he wanted to be with me, and I was aware of how completely ill-equipped I was for that, I asked him. That's the great thing about personifying I asked money, what do you need from me to allow you to be with me the way you want to be with me? And when you ask a question, you get an answer. And I like putting it in the mouth of this other being so it doesn't have any of my own neuroses, which I have, obviously a few.
We all do.
Right.
We all do. It's all good.
So I asked, what do you need from me to allow you to be with me the way you want to be with me? And he, at that moment in time, in March of 2003, said, I need you to love me, and I need you to stop treating me like a monster. So before we go on, I'm going to address the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we grew up understanding, that the love of money is the root of evil. And I think that stems from, yes, there are some people out there who have money who don't do good things with it and use it in a powerful way to, restrict others to be able to grow and all that.
And that is not love. That is
Understood.
not love.
Understood.
And also, side note, a friend of mine in England studied ancient Aramaic, and it originally said the worship of money will cause you problems. The English translation got it wrong.
Interesting. But that's not necessarily wrong. Sometimes, depending on how you think about it, you could go down the wrong path with money.
Of course. The worship of money will cause you problems. Absolutely. And I will also say that love is not exploitation. Love is not greed or avarice or harm causing. That's not love. Love is not selfish. Love is not scarcity. Love is noble and generous and kind, and it's your best self, and it's expansive and courageous and even divine. So when we talk love, that's love.
Right. So if you change your mindset on what love is, because a lot of people don't think of love that way.
10 years after I slayed my money monster, I slayed my love monster, and I met my husband 2 months later when I was 45. First husband ever. We've been married 26 times in 20 countries and counting so far. So anyway, back to the money stuff. But this does work on love. And I've also had some success with it working on health problems. But my focus tends to be money. That's why people come to me, because I have just so many clients who started at nothing and made 6, 7, 8, 9 figures. So money is here. Says, I want you to love me and stop treating me like a monster. Seemed reasonable, right? Seemed like a reasonable request. So I thought to myself, of all the times people who wanted to hire me would ask me what I charged, or more evasively, how I worked. And it never even occurred to me that's a euphemism for what do you charge. And how I would choke and freak out and get all uncomfortable.
Well, it is uncomfortable, right? I mean, as small business owners, as entrepreneurs, you want to value your skills and everything correctly, but you also see the look on the person's face when you say, oh, it costs X amount of dollars.
Well, it's uncomfortable if money is a stinky, scary monster. If money is a great person who loves you and shares your values and wants to save the world with you, then when you say, this is the investment, you get to choose. You're not pressuring anybody. You're not tricking anybody. You're not hurting anybody. You are allowing an adult to make the best decision for them. Yeah. And nobody really invests in you. They invest in themselves and the life that they want. And if you're the right person, yay. If you're not, yay.
I can agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I can say that I've come a long way in the almost 11 years I've been doing this on my own with tax and accounting for individuals, small businesses. And I've shifted a bit. I'm now doing more small business and entrepreneurs. And I've had to say to myself, I don't ever apologize anymore why I charge what I charge. I don't say, oh, I'm sorry, this is my fee. I don't even apologize. I say, if you're going to take me on, here's my process and here's what it costs you.
I would be helpless without my bookkeeper and my accountants. I had an $80,000 tax bill in 2013 because the assistant, the VA who was supposedly, keeping my tax records for me, ignored every category I gave her, and I just had a hot mess and no deductions.
Yeah.
You do the Lord's work. It's just what you do is really, really important.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, it's time for a money break. Welcome back from our money break. Going back to what you're saying, it is very hard to say or to not feel shame in why you're charging what you're charging or why you're doing what you're doing.
So I made a deal with my money honey after he said, I want you to love me and stop treating me like a monster. And I thought of all the times that I unknowingly treated him like a monster with shame and horror. And I made a commitment to him that next time he brought me a gift, which usually looked like somebody wanted to hire me, I would accept the gift and say thank you. And so here's the punchline. That week, 4 people hired me out of the blue at double what I'd ever charged before. And they kept coming. Wow. And by the way, it started with 2 people the very next day within 24 hours. And they just kept coming. And I have made millions of dollars since then. And I'm the person who was struggling to make $100 a month. And then I had all these clients who were not hiring me for money stuff. I wasn't marketing that. I was still coaching entertainment industry at that time. And because they were human, they had money issues. So I would try out what I did on them. And in the beginning, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I had to figure out. So I'm going to give you the really brief, condensed 20-something years in the making clip note. And
okay, great.
6 steps. First step is uncover the root cause of the money problem. And here's the not intuitive clincher. It's never really about money. It is about what I said money represents. The root cause is always going to be something or anything that made you feel unlovable, unloved and unlovable.
Very interesting.
Something that has made you feel unworthy, not good enough. I'm using lots of, synonyms here for the same word to see if one word lands better than another. Anything that made you feel unsafe, especially if it doesn't on the surface look like it has to do with money. Anything that has to do with violence, accidents, illnesses, world events that make you feel unsafe, that are unfair, things that made you feel unloved, unworthy, not good enough, rejected. If you have any parent traumas, you start there because our first experience of money is parents, because they tell us that we're loved, worthy, or they make us safe or they don't. That's a good place to start. But also friends, teachers, lovers, business partners, clients, just go through your own life experience and notice where the feelings are strong. You're just kind of following the energy. And it's almost like you're in a court of law making a case against the universe, against life. I'm not teaching law of attraction. Although law of attraction people love me and I'm friends with half the people in The Secret, I'm not a law of attraction person because that was one of the things that didn't work for me. But what I have found is, and this is like one of my favorite things to say, is change happens at the speed of safety. And if you are doing everything that you can do and you are not seeing any change, it is my experience of 30 years in coaching thousands of clients that it's very, very likely that something about what you want is not safe. So how we make it safe is we look for what isn't safe, and that's looking for the root cause. That's step number one. What in your life has ever made you feel unloved, unworthy, or unsafe? Because those are the things that money represents. So the counterintuitive, but you just feel the pain and you get to this critical amount of ick. Life is horrible. You don't have to re-traumatize yourself. Do not dissociate. You don't have to go that far. It's not necessary for this to work. When you have enough ick, because we want it to be like an emotional experience, because what we're doing is we're, on a neuroscientific standpoint, we are lighting up your neurology by creating strong emotions, which increases neuroplasticity so that we can rewire your relationship with money from icky, scary monster who rejects me into, oh my God, he's so in love with me. You pick your flavor. Step number 2 is give personhood to all this ickiness, and that will be your monster. And I was just lucky that time. I'm a terrible visualizer. I hate visualizations. If you tell me to sit by a river, I'll spend 40 minutes trying to decide which river. But because
I kind of feel you on that one.
Right?
Sometimes I just can't get that focus.
I have tricks I'm going to share with you right now. So first is get the emotional part of step number 1 strong enough. Whatever hurt you, use that. And then you're going to put that in this external force. Anything you hate about yourself, any mean thing you've ever said to yourself, you're going to put that in your monster's voice, not you. You're going to externalize all that. Anything your parents might have done, you put that in your monster. And start with like, how big does this monster feel? Does it feel hot or cold? What does it smell like? It should smell really awful. What does its fingernails look like? Its eyes, its teeth, and you just kind of flesh it out like that. I always go to the visual last. I start with the feeling and I go through the other things. What is the mean thing it says to you? What does it want to do to you if it can? And when you get there, then you've got this monster that you can work with. And so step number 3, which is why it's not you and it's not your parents or anybody currently in your life, is because step number 3 is you are going to annihilate it. Any means necessary. I do not go to horror movies. I don't like violence. I
don't like them either.
And I'm saying, kill the monster. So I'm like this, peacenik, saves the whales, all that kind of. And I'm saying, you have to choose. Only one of you gets to survive. It's you or this monster. By destroying the monster, you choose yourself. And you are putting in this monster, which while it is imaginary, your subconscious cannot tell the difference. It is as real as the hand in front of your face to your subconscious. This relationship is real, but the problem is when we talk about relationship with money, it's an abstract concept, so it's not real. It doesn't motivate us in the same way that a real person does, flesh and blood. So you are making a decision to put everything that is no longer acceptable in your life experience in this monster. And now you are eradicating it from existence, any trace of existence. One client ran over her monster with a monster truck. I mean, it doesn't matter. If you need to destroy it with a, holy blaze of loving white light that will destroy it, then you do that. You just find what works for you. Everybody's different. And when it's gone, you will feel it. It will feel different. That's what we're listening for. That is step 3, is getting rid of the monster. When the monster is gone, all the pain, all the unloved, unworthy, unsafe trauma is rejected and booted off of existence with this monster, all that remains is love. And now we're going to take that feeling and give it personhood. And that will be what I call your money honey. Why? Because it
And that's
rhymes.
step 4.
That's step 4. You meet your money honey. And this person will feel like love, but we will call it money because money is an area of life that needs our love and healing. And this person loves you more than anybody in the world and chooses you because this is your new relationship with money and life. Spoiler alert, this is your new relationship with life and money. So step 4 is you meet your money honey, and this person loves you more than anyone in the world, and you want this person in your life too. And it doesn't have to do with money. It doesn't have to do with what are you going to buy me. That just becomes another monster who has all the power, and we don't want that. This is just a person worthy of your deepest love and admiration. The money, the cash follows the relationship. So step number 5 is have a conversation with this person. You can, again, steal from me and just say, money, what do you need from me to allow you to be with me the way you want to be with me? And why that question is really important is because you have the body, okay? This is not some law of attraction Santa Claus trick where now that you have acute money, everything happens for you and you don't have to evolve and you don't have to participate in life. That isn't why you're alive. You're alive to be here and do you. So you have the power in the relationship because you're the gatekeeper and you have the body. So you ask money, what do you need from me to allow you to be with me the way you want to be with me? And then listen. Now, here's the thing, is the response may come so quick and so quietly that you can pretend that you didn't hear it. And you did. And it also may make no sense to you whatsoever. Case in point, my client Janet in Canada, her money honey wanted her to go walking. And she was too busy trying to make money. So she put it off for 2 weeks. And when she finally took the walk, she picked up 2 new clients. I have a lot of examples like that. And by the way, I'm not promising that, oh, wow, as soon as you take the action, the money comes from that action. But what I will say is when you commit to an action and you do it, you will feel better about yourself because you kept your word and you're in integrity as a great relationship partner.
So you're holding yourself accountable, not just with the idea of, okay, where do I put my money? How do I invest it? How do I save it? How do I want to spend it? But the accountability as it relates to having money and what you do with it and doing it with grace. I always say doing it with grace.
And the things that make your money happy will always in some way come back to what will make you love yourself more, respect yourself more, what exalts you. And it doesn't have to be linear. Sometimes I'll have a client whose money wants her to do her taxes and then she'll come back to me the next week and go, whoa, that was like foreplay, you know? But I also had a client back in 2007, a guy whose money honey was this elegant French woman who wanted him to take his firm to Paris. And her message was, I want you to use me for things that are worthy of me, not junk. Okay. And the punchline on this is that he made it's a long time ago. It was $1.2 or $1.6 million over the next 2 months. I try to get the numbers correct. I have a lot of cash examples, because everything I'm saying can sound sort of airy-fairy woo, which is fun. But again, change happens at the speed of safety. So all these actions that you were taking that seemed not to work were planting seeds, but they were kind of behind a safety wall that when it's safe, because you deserve to be safe, to bring down the wall, things that may not have worked in the past start to work.
And I think it has to do with the confidence too. If you feel safe, if you break down those walls and you feel safe and comfortable, then you're going to feel confident in what you do. And that's not always easy, but you have to work at it.
My client Perry, and I mentioned her earlier, is a really good example of this. She went to Bali with me on my Money Goddess retreat in 2013. And she had to borrow the money to go. She was at zero. And over the next 3 years, and I only found this out because I was speaking on her stage in Sun Valley, Idaho at the Wellness Festival, that she shared the whole story of what happened. I knew part of it, but I didn't know the whole thing. is she made over $12 million over the next 3 years that she did have to fight for it, but she also earned it and deserved it. And the trick was the work that we did together changed her relationship with her own self-worth and her own relationship with money so that she could feel really, really, and she's the nicest, most generous, greatest person in the world, like always helping others, going on, campaigns across the country to raise awareness on suicide and help people, and just beautiful human being. And because she was coming from the work that we did together and she could see all the good that she would do with this money and that she did deserve it, and she felt good about herself receiving it, that's what got her through the process and the fight to get the money that she was owed.
So those are the first 5 steps. So what's the last step in all of this?
The 6th step is action. So the first step is uncover the root cause. Second step is personify the root cause as the money monster. Third step is eradicate the money monster by any means necessary. Fourth step is meet your money honey. Fifth step is have a conversation with your money honey. Sixth step is take action, because action is magical. Up until this moment, we're doing lots of great work, but it's all kind of, in the ethers and emotional, but you want to embody it. So the 6th step is, what concrete, measurable action are you going to take to demonstrate to money and yourself that you're committed to this new relationship? And the action may be obvious. Usually it's a little less on the nose. It does not have that flavor of you should. It's never that punishing, you should, you're not good enough. That's all monster stuff. Clean that up. Just zap it, get rid of it. You know how to kill a monster now. Now it's more like an invitation that you're looking at what turns your money honey on, what is going to light him or her up with joy.
Right.
And, maybe it's going to be balancing your checkbook, and maybe it getting a pedicure or going dancing. Only your money honey will let you know.
So with all your steps and everything, do you ever feel or find clients that they're just destined to struggle with money, that no matter what they do, they may not 100% get past that struggle?
That is the before step. So Here's a different frame. Clients who are in a lot of pain and anxiety have a huge advantage in this process because it's already started. Like, the monster is going to be really easy to dig out. The client who is like, oh, I have a great relationship with money, but I want to make more, is going to be the hardest person for me to work with. We can, but I'm going to have to dig a little more. The reason I coach this and why I have not retired is because over and over and over again, I see clients really in dramatic circumstances, what I might call the abyss. Like, holy heck, how are they going to get out of this? I don't know. And I coach them, and miracles happen. And so it just demonstrates to me over and over again what is possible for human beings. And we have horrible experiences in life. I really want to say that happened. We have religions all about how do we deal with loss and grief of being mortal beings, sentient mortal beings who love and suffer loss and pain and heartbreak and all that kind of stuff. That is just part of life. That is part of being human. And instead of saying, oh, well, we have to bury that and vibe high, like as if the law of attraction police are going to come after you if you don't have a high vibration. Instead, I say, I want you to use those experiences. You've already paid the price of admission with your pain. You've already been through it. Use it. I consider, take off your positive thinking hat at the beginning of the process. You'll get it back, but it'll work so much better. And really just laser focus on the pain. I call this process financial alchemy for a reason. Alchemy is the transmutation of lead, as in lead in human experience, into gold, material and spiritual. So you get to use all that lead as fuel for your transformation and evolution and empowerment. It is not something to hide or bury or discard. dig it up, use it. Like
to
a
help you.
sling creates the leverage to catapult you into where you want to be. And so any victim experience you've ever had in your life suddenly becomes your ticket to everything you really ever wanted. And you get to use it, and you get to validate it, and you get to use it as fuel for transformation in step number 1. And then make it into a monster, show that monster what it deserves and annihilate it. Choose yourself. And I've had instances where the monster seemed so frightened and pathetic and sad and like, oh, I don't want to hurt him. And that's a scam. That's a scam. Choose yourself.
It's a mindset. It's helping you to rethink about yourself and your relationship with the money and how you can then use that to better yourself. And I do think with the confidence and all that too, especially for business owners. I mean, I'm sure in personal financial life too, it helps, but I really think helping business owners get past that is really important. This has been a fabulous conversation. I've really been enjoying all of this. Is there anything else that you want to share as it comes to people understanding their relationship with money? You know, any successes, anything that you feel it's important for my listeners to know?
Well, one thing that comes to me immediately is because you said mindset, and I want to say yes, and it's also a heart set. Your mind will follow your heart. If your heart feels welcome and excited to play with money as a partner, your mind is going to think differently. If you find yourself spinning in circles and frightened, clear out any money monster stuff that might be there, and now take a look at whatever the circumstances are in front of you. Imagine sitting on a couch side by side with your money honey or cuddling, and look at it as a couple, and now look at the situation through your money honey's eyes. It will look different because you are setting aside the fear makes us dumb. It shuts down the frontal lobe, which is the genius zone. In addition to being, you know, this kind of woo California coach, I love science. I was a national merit scholar in math and science. So
awesome.
It shuts fear and high emotions, shut down the front lobe, which is where you make all your smart choices, and lights up the limbic brain, the reptilian survival brain, which makes generally your dumb choices. So by eradicating the monster and choosing the money honey and feeling loved and safe and worthy, you are activating your brilliance. And that's where you come up with new ideas and new perspectives and new solutions.
And confidence.
And confidence is everything. And confidence, literally, if you break it down to the Latin, confidence only means with faith. It's not something you have to earn. It's in yourself. It's a leap of faith in yourself.
Absolutely. And I think your process and what you talk about being both, you know, the mindset, the heart set, all that, and loving money, I think it's been great. This has been a fabulous conversation and getting people to think of it in a different way. And maybe hiring a coach or somebody to talk to, a mentor that can help you through some of this.
Well, what I would recommend, because I've, again, given you the cliff notes, I don't expect anybody to master this in 1 hour, what's taken me 21 years, right?
Right.
So don't worry about it. I have tools and resources, a ton of free stuff. If you go to morganarae.com, really easy, my name, one word, throw a .com, go there.
And I will put that all on the podcast.
It's the mothership. I have my 4-part Money Magnetic video series. I also have my Money Love quiz. I have hundreds of articles and videos on the blog. And I have my international #1 best-selling book, Financial Alchemy, 12 Months of Magic and Manifestation. It is a book/self-coaching workbook. My client, Pam, had her first $250,000 sales month using the book before she ever hired me, before I even knew she existed.
And that's called Financial Alchemy, and that can be found on your website.
On my website, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart. But here's the thing. If you buy the book, and I have Amazon links for lots of different countries on my website, and then come back to my website to the book page, I have an extra top secret bonus 90-minute Q&A call that nobody who just got it on Barnes & Noble knows about. There are bonuses in the book for the Barnes & Noble and Amazon people, but there's an extra one only for you because you are watching the Financial Maven podcast.
That's awesome. And I'll get the links and all from Morgana, and I'll make sure that we share all that. So this has been lovely. I think it's just so great to have a different perspective. Like I said, I try to take a holistic approach with my clients and engaging them because, again, we need to have grace with our money. We need to have an understanding, and it's okay to talk about the money. So Morgana, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, it's Your Financial Maven, and I want to hear from you. Feel free to leave me your insights and money stories or questions that you may have about money. You can visit www.yourfinancialmavenpodcast.com and click on the I Want to Hear From You tab. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about money. The purpose of this podcast is to provide general information on the subjects discussed. It is for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. You should consult your CPA, accountant, or tax professional for all of your specific financial needs or situations. Your Financial Maven is hosted and produced by Samantha M. Besnoff, CPA, and Your Financial Maven, LLC. Editing is done by Kris Zarnoch of KMZen Creative. Music is written, composed, and performed by Daniel Shore.